weeks since I moved, and in a quieter place, nicer place all the way around. And my first guest, well, last time we did this, we had an unexpected interruption. This time, hopefully, this will go betterly planned. This is Jill Maria Mateas Robinson. So,
the girl with the long name.
Okay. It's much longer than it used to be, actually.
Yes, I added on my real last name when I was born because I'm super in love with my family who I just met after 29 years in Romania.
So what happened? How
did that all, Josh? Well, you know from interviewing me how I've talked about family, and that's like a missing gap for me of people that look like me and know where I came from. So as an artist, I really had hoped that art would find some format of my family through whatever medium and them seeing me or something. So when I had started working with Daniela Apostoli, a Romanian film documentary maker, she, had given me a lot of hope that, you could find her family. It's possible. And it was still kind of like I didn't know all the information to meet them even, or the name. It's quite an interesting story. I kind of lived a Canadian life, and as my parents wanted that for me too. So for really, I didn't have this support of going and searching for them and finding them and knowing that much about them. I had really adapted to the Canadian lifestyle due to my parents. And in my heart, I'd always wanted to know where I came from. When I found them through Facebook, can you believe it? That really changed everything. So, who I am as my identity, I just felt like, no, that's who I am. And now I can say that proud and it be true and everyone else knows it's true. Because, yeah, I'm a Mateas and I'm a Robinson. So I just want to honor both my families and keep this name with me, in media.
So some people would say, you kind of got lucky.
In a very twisted way.
No, I should elaborate on that.
Well, it did. It worked out in the end, yeah.
Well, I should elaborate because you were raised by foster parents, right? And I'm sure they still love you, and they still kind of see you as their daughter, even though your name is, your Mateas is your natural name. And then you find your real family after. I'm almost terrified to ask how old you are now because you might just physically.
I know, guys, early 30s.
Yes.
Early 30s.
So for 30 years, right? Yeah. So
I didn't know who I was. Yes, literally, I didn't know where I came from as a person, and it affected me greatly with my ADD and my anxiety from that. A lot of people have told me, "Oh, you've changed. Now that you found them, you're a little more, normal." I guess people still are. They're so rude to me and put me at a certain standard because I'm foreign or because I'm a woman in film or because I'm always searching for love in that sense, family feel with people. And I just feel kind of like, I'm just happy just to be me, and I'm a unique person in that sense because of how I was raised and being adopted and that whole dynamic. It's like who I am.
So who'd you meet first?
I first talked to a relative named Costel and Claudia, and they are cousins of my dad side, his sister's son. So he's my first cousin. And I had reached out once I had boldly asked my parents online, I am wanting to find out who I am, They said, well, good luck. I didn't have that much support from them or whatever. They didn't do anything. My dad's got cancer and my mom's taking care of him. They're private people, so they don't want me to ever really talk about them out of respect, and it's none of their business in that sense. But I tell everybody everything, but not about their life and that stuff. But it just kind of was different growing up. They were journalists, and my mom was an actor, and I'm a Romanian gypsy, so I'm an artist naturally within me. And then I had just said to myself, like, I guess I'll find out the name, and then I did find out my mother's name, and then I just Facebooked every person with the same last name as me and just said the same thing. Hi, I'm me. I'm trying to find my mother. And then I literally probably added, and because I was like pretty sure, I took a look at her, one look, and was pretty surprised that that was my brother with her. And I just couldn't believe, like, he looked so Arabic. I was like, wow, like, oh my goodness, okay, I guess this is my family. And I could tell it was my mom right away. And she didn't get back to me, but the cousin did. And he connected me. It was just like, I call him my hero because he knew English a little bit better than everyone else to be able to know, like, what's this girl trying to say? So it was like phone, virtual. It was like phone stuff. And I was on a tour, a press tour with my last cover star in Vancouver. And like at the hotel, like finding messages, hey, we think you know who you are. Just, it was so emotional and beautiful. It made me a better artist, a happier person. And so now that is a whole thing. And I just, oh, the sound's getting all weird for a second. And I just feel that I'm ready for the next step to keep creating, keep putting out my next issues. I get held back sometimes and I'm feeling sad or not enough support, but I always keep going.
It's important to keep going. I mean, good things do end up happening when you do keep going. So is your relationship with your foster parents different now?
Pardon?
Is your relationship with your foster parents different now?
Yes. There's a lot of my family members, and they're focusing on my dad's, surviving. He has cancer, so he's not doing well. I'm focusing on what I'm doing. They're focusing on what they're doing. I talk to them. I say, hey, how you guys doing often and stuff. But, trying to find yourself, I've been very separate from like everybody recently, trying to find that solace of who I am, where I want to go. So it's been a few years of weirdness, I guess, where I've just wanted to be on my own and find myself a little bit.
Okay.
With friends, family, everybody, really. But I've needed to ground myself again.
All right. So you went to Romania last year, right?
Last September, yeah.
Hey, darling, to Ryan, nice to see you on the podcast. Welcome to the show. Let me know what you think of the new locale. But no, it just seems to me it's okay. I'm going to ask a really strange question. I don't normally do this on the air, but I feel like I kind of want to on it with you here.
Because we know each other so well. Okay.
You okay? And I asked that because it sounds to me like it kind of. I say this because I'm again, if it's too personal, we can move on. It just sounds to me like your dad or your adopted father sounds like he's going through the fight of his life, and like I just noticed, like with my own family, for a very long time I looked at my dad as kind of invincible. Now I'm a little bit older than you, not much older than you, but I'm a little older than you. I see him a lot more human now than I used to, but there would have been a point if my dad had suffered something like that. Lovely too. There would have been a point if my dad had cancer, or if my dad had a life-altering disease. I'm not sure I would have been able to deal with my parents' mortality. I dealt with my own mortality issues. So me realizing that my parents and my grandparents are they all have a life they have. I kind of made my peace with that a while ago. But this sounds new to you. Am I off? Am I?
Oh yeah, guys. Behind the scenes, I'm very sad. I just don't publicly talk about that stuff in my personal life or if I'm dating anybody or anything because that kind of stuff's so off limits and people can judge so easily. But yeah, I'm going through a lot in life, feeling I'm very sad for him obviously dying. He saved me from Romania and stuff. But I'm just so different from them. And I think they don't understand why I do the things the way I do and how I do them. And they really want me to succeed at doing what I'm doing. So my life's not so hard. So parents, they do that. I think I get more, oh my God, Jill, you're an amazing, you did a magazine. More from people maybe I don't even know than people that know me so close. Because it's just always what I've been doing, wanting to share stories, dive into like who people are, probably because in a sense I've been trying to find who I am my whole life, not being able to fit in some formats of like just my personality is so different that when I went back to Romania in September and embraced all of them and the 200 folks that I have like close relatives within Romania, that's where they're mainly from, Hungary and then Romania. It's kind of it's like a movie, guys. I'm gonna make a movie about it one day, and I want to make a reality / documentary about my mother. There's so much detail to how I got here, and it's very interesting because not many people are separated from their family the way I was, and their whole lives they've been wanting to find me back and hoping that I'd come back with my dad or something. They never really left where they were, and they all lived together in one plot of land, kind of, and there's like 20 of them. So I'm very blessed, and I love my family in Canada too, and I just feel so much more at home and accepted. But even in Canada, I don't feel accepted for who I am. Being a Romanian gypsy, this is not good, I guess, for some people being from this kind of culture. But I don't care. I'm so proud of them for they're good people there. And they want to be artists, and lots of them, work construction. And like, I'm really excited to do that documentary next time I go back with them to show people in the world, like my family, I'm excited.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So I know somebody that went to Romania right before the pandemic. So would you end up living there, or are you want to stay in Canada? What do you want to do?
I don't know. That's what I've been thinking is like, where is there in life for a gal like me that wants to just always be traveling, connecting with people, trying new things. I want to get to know my family. So like living there is not an option because, God brought me all the way to here. I'm not looking to like actually move back, but it's my home now, it is like I have my mother's house that I'm going to stay at, I've got a ton of clothes there still from my last trip that I left. Yeah, it's going to be my home. I'm going to be doing trips there every year, once or twice a year, I hope, and film and meet them and talk to them, like, just be a part of the family.
So it's going to be a fixture of your life kind of going forward for the foreseeable future then, going back there at least.
Yeah, a psychic told me that, yes, I will be going there. Her name's Jenny Cousins, and she's a clairvoyant medium of sorts, and she knows me quite well and kind of guessed that will happen for me before I even really chatted with her. So, yeah, we'll see what she says. I'm hoping that what she said to me before is true, that I go there and help my family.
I hope so, too. So how's acting been for you in this time? This has been, I've heard some interesting stories, good and bad, about it.
There's always the good and bad. People love to say the good and the bad.
Well, this is an unusual time, right? Because I mean, there was like I was going to go into the film industry in Vancouver, and then the
Oh,
pandemic hit.
right.
Yeah, I was ready to go, and I was just quietly. I took the classes. I was quietly just doing some stuff, getting myself like some skills before I made the shift and tried to jump into like I was going to be the crew. I wasn't interested in being in front of the camera, but behind it. But then the pandemic happened and it shut everything down. So I had to make a choice, and I decided to go back to where my family is right now, which is where I'm at least for the next little while. And then, but I've talked to some people that have been working since, and they've told me it's been good in one sense because not so many people are traveling up to do film work, so there's more opportunities. Has that been the case with you?
I agree. For me, no. I did one project called The Gray Man by Berkeley Brady, David Bond, and Ian Lister. Jordan Gooden and I star in this project together. There are good things coming for it, but I'm not really supposed to say anything because it's like past the fall. I think it's to come out, but I don't know the release of it. But it's part of a project that's like an anthology of horror stories put together in a movie called the Creepy Pasta Movie. And that will be a big one for me, actually. It'll be released professionally. David Bond is an excellent behind the scenes producer. Sorry, David. Saying his name anyway. And Berkeley Brady is an upcoming filmmaker, director. She has background of Indigenous roots, and she is going for it this year. So I'm working with her. She works with Michelle Thrush, who's a big star in Canada, especially. And I'm working with her hopefully on a new project again. I don't know exactly, but I hope to keep that relation with her. We're friends now, but I hope to keep working with that same team and do another project or two with them. But I'm focusing on the next issue, you guys.
So you got your magazine ready to go for another round now?
I'm gonna do another round. I think people want it. I want it. I wasn't able to put out my last print issue because of COVID when I was like hitting the print to print. The magazine was actually at print, and then they're like, we're not gonna print this because COVID, our business is shutting down. So that was a big disappointment. That kind of affected a lot of stuff. And I felt bad for anyone who wasn't, wanting to be in it. And I told them they would, so they'll probably be in the next one that comes out anyway. So everyone will get to be seen, just as I had said before, but just a little bit kind of later time because of COVID. But yeah, I'm not giving up. I've partnered with a few PR agencies and talent agents that I'm really giving her with a series called The Dreamers with I'm Here With. And we interviewed Canadian artists about their struggle and about the dreams that they had to achieve the dreams that they have now, or achieve the dreams.
So is it going to be like more like a talk show now, or is it like
kind of? Yeah, a little bit. I'm forming something, and I want to put it to Amazon for the show. The interviews I do, I want to put to Amazon so it can be streamed for people to watch it and more accessible. And giving exposure for my clients and my team is always the goal.
So, okay. So have you done any so far?
Behind the scenes, you guys, I am consulting and doing PR all the time. If I'm posting about it or posting somebody, I'm working with them. A lot of the time I use my own social media to make others out there if they're not within my own network of people that know them. So I always start with my own magazine I'm Here With and create a podcast with them, a photo shoot, always depending who they are and what the needs of them are, if they're a client or if I'm doing it pro bono for them. A lot of the time, you guys, this magazine, I do it for, almost charity, if you could say it like that. My clients that pay me, I do a really good job for them, getting them seen, and that can get them, a start. More like for the beginner kind of people I like helping, the underdog or whatever, the independent side of people who do not have much. I want to help people the way people didn't help me. organic, properly, and with kindness of what they need for their career. And it was really inspired by the first TV show that I ever was a part of called Go Fish on Amazon, created by Zuli Alnahas, and Alan Stickle was a dear friend of mine, rest in peace. And he really was the reason I did this magazine, to put people up like him to make them famous or whatever. So I am now working with some very, very big stars out of Vancouver, who are LA and Canadian based. And I'm just feeling so happy, you guys. I've been so quiet about everything I'm doing. Really, I always post. But yeah, I'm working really hard for the next month on the next issue.
All right. So let's go. Let's do the COVID thing real quick here.
Sure.
I'm not going to talk about like what I've had lots of people with various forms of COVID therapy on my show, but I do always ask this question. COVID was an opportunity, and as I think we're coming to the tail end of the pandemic, one way or the other, I wondered what did you learn?
Oh, the pandemic. I learned I had to be independent, pretty much from everybody, all my friends, even my family. I had to figure out all the stuff on my own, through friends helping or Googling. I had to grow up a little bit. Everybody's life switched, where I was on a roll, you guys, before everything. I was on the news with Jordan Gooden from being at Calgary Film Festival in 2019. And then everything just kind of changed after I met my family. It was just go, go, go for me, you guys. I lots of balls were dropped with people to be able to be close and connect, because I had so much going on in my own personal life. And sometimes I don't communicate with people like, what's up with what I'm happening. But I'm always like, well, just see my post, you'll see. But I think that's something I want to work on this year, is really communicating and being clear with people what I want from them, what they want from me when I'm working with them especially. And, letting people know that I do care about them and love them. It's so hard, you guys, for everybody to manage everything at once and try to keep going. I'm still a young woman, I guess, a business lady trying to make it. So I'm always like still hustling and going and not smelling the roses as much as I should. But my little puppy, Raylu Malin Cooper, keeps me very happy. I just got him a few months ago. He's 8 months old now.
Are you spoiling him rotten?
I spent all my money on him. Literally. He deserves he's like 3 pounds, and he's a beautiful Chihuahua. And everyone, he's a beautiful little Chihuahua that's very well behaved. Service dog. I had to make him a service dog because I need him to be with me. Like, I have to, I can't just leave him with friends or people. Like, I bring him with me everywhere I go.
So you're on set, there's a Chihuahua there all the time now.
I haven't experienced that yet, so I'm just like needing to not stop doing background so I can get a role, so I can bring my dog. I need to put him in the trailer.
So how many roles have you tried doing in the last year? Like, I'm just curious about just some of the things you.
I did quite a few actually in this last year. Assassin's League with Corey Gerard, or Corey Smith. That's out fairly soon, I think, on Amazon, if I'm not correct. I had done with Patty Sherschwan and Chris Cowden. I did Moments in Space and Time, all the way up in Edmonton when I was in Calgary. That's out on Apple, Amazon. It's very, very touching story, you guys, about somebody who's adopted and how they feel left out from their family, and like how that goes. Her grandpa's like her favorite or whatever. And John Rice Davies is the star, the guy who's like, oh, Indy, in Indiana Jones series. So I got to be a part of a movie that most TV stars honestly have worked with him. I've noticed that most of the big stars have been in movies where he's in them. So I felt like, wow, it's my first like big movie that I'm like speaking in that's current this year. So I felt proud from this one.
So you've done a lot more than you mentioned earlier.
Oh, I've done a lot of small things, I think the Gray Man, where I'm solely starring in it, is the biggest for me, where I'll get that accolade. Like, yeah, she could be an actor. But I do it all, I'm too much of a Jill of all trades because I have to. I do everything myself. I have friends I collaborate with, but it's hard to find people on my path that are going at the speed that I am with all the visuals and to keep it all going, you guys. Like this is my full-time life. I sacrificed a lot to be where I am.
So you're in Kamloops right now. So how often are you on the road now?
Well, not as much as I'd like to. I am working. I've been to Vancouver and Victoria to do a few documentaries for clients for the Amazon series I'm creating called the Dreamer series, where I go in depth with people. And, I went to Calgary. I've been to Calgary, off and on, having to go back there for appointments for my health, but not traveling for fun anymore, obviously. But
Nice.
in the last probably 3-4 months, yeah, I went to Vancouver once and Victoria and Calgary.
So you're just going off and doing one sec here. I'm just gonna click a button here. There it goes. All right, there we go. I just wanted to see what was going on.
I wanted to go back to Vancouver again, but the restrictions for buses and driving, it just became too much. And I'm, taking the vaccine, for others' health and mine, whatever I believe about it, if it's good or bad. I have to take it pretty soon because I want to go back to Romania, and you need the vaccine, then you can travel again. So once you have the vaccine, then you can do whatever you want. So I think that's what I'm going to focus on this next week or two is making sure I book myself and do that.
Yeah, I'm going to wait a couple of years before I get more.
It's awesome to see if people die from it or not. I'm hearing blood clots are happening, so I'm a little scared, but I think it's okay.
Well,
maybe.
I'm not gonna scare you. My whole thing about this is anyone that kind of takes it this year, I kind of feel is a bit of a guinea pig, and
we all are. We would be, yeah.
So I kind of look at it as I'm gonna wait and see. Like I said, I'm in a position really right now where I don't really need to travel yet. Eventually, I'm going to, and eventually I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I'm in kind of a different space in my headspace than you in one sense, in that I realize for me, I don't really need to be anywhere. I can be anywhere I want to be, and that's a very interesting freedom. So for me, who knows? With the way the prices of everything is going, I might just decide to get a house in Hawaii, because why not? It's expensive everywhere now, so you might as well just go where you want to go.
I know there's different ways of living than the constructed life, and not everyone can fit that mold of that lifestyle. Sometimes they just want to be artists and do what that takes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope you're doing well, Josh. I miss you. You and I I've always shared my announcement that I'm doing my next issue with you just for fun, because you just do interviews a certain way that's like conversation. I'm not stressed. Like, what's he going to add? I don't even worry about it. I have so much fun with you on your show.
Well, I got my first steady freelance gig. I did my very first assignment for the magazine. I'm actually a regular writer, getting paid on now. And I interviewed pretty famous opera jazz dancer in the United States. Rose Kingsley. That's a hell of a conversation, and we talked about everything from her performing for presidents to Bob, to her falling in love with the astronaut she had a crush on. She was a kid, actually got to have a relationship with him, to just the plays she performed, right? Just like it's just really cool. I get to do that now on a printed page. I'm doing a couple other things too. But basically at this particular point in my life, I'm starting to see, I was a freelancer last year. I decided to try freelancing out. And the hardest lesson I had to learn was, okay, so the freelancing business, no matter whether it's acting, writing, or anything like that, it's not that different than the person actually doing it. So the big challenge is you got to find what your specialty is and go pursue that. In my case, I mean, I just went with what I already did, which was I interview people, and I've been published in Anime Herald, Writers Weekly magazine. I'm about to be published into, like, as a regular basis, get a regular salary from them, or a regular paycheck from them at least. And now that I have this steady gig, now my goal is to try to get a few more steady gigs. Because if I do that, I can literally be anywhere I want to be.
Good for you.
Yeah. So, but that's where I'm at there. I mean, I'm still doing books. One of my books is going to be up for an award this year, which is kind of cool. My podcast is nearing 600 episodes. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, and I went to this format here where we're at now. I transferred that last year. So it's just been like, for me, this whole year was about like figuring out what exactly I wanted to do and do it. And for me, I was fortunate in the sense that I had the opportunity to pretty much try and fail. And if I failed, I didn't really pay a huge price. I got a day job again for the time being, but again, I don't see myself as an employee anymore. I see myself as a freelancer first and foremost. So I know this too. My time in the workforce is going to probably have moments of come and go. I need to work now, so I am. But I can also just be like, I can just see it in my head. Like I'm there for now, but it's not like.
Yeah, all of us are building towards something right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's me. Like I'm kind of, and so I've also had this unique perspective of, everything the virus could do to me, I've already experienced in some form or other in this life. So it didn't hit me the same way. I literally the moment everything was shut down, my very first thought was, how can I make money in this time? That was literally my first thought.
I was worried too. Yeah, like.
Oh no, I wasn't worried. No, I wasn't worried at all. I like I said, everything that could have happened in this life, like everything that like, I've been super poor, wondering where my next meal is coming from. I've looked death in the face. I have illness where I haven't been in control of my body. So I've been through all of that already. So in one real sense, there was nothing this virus could do to me, right? Because I've already been through all of it. So it's like, okay, this is it. This is the way it is. Cool. How do we make money in this time? And not in like I'm worried kind of way. More like, let's just figure this shit out and go. That's me. That's been me in this time. Do I see myself going back out west again? It's definitely possible. I don't know if I go to Vancouver again. I don't think I go back to Calgary to live either. But at this kind of point in my life, I'm just gonna roll, and that's kind of where I'm at. So.
Good for you, Josh. I love your long hair now. It looks awesome.
I'm trying. I might get this cut. Actually, I'm looking at Twilight. The only downside is, since I'm in Ontario, I can't buy underwear or socks right now.
Oh yeah.
The way the restrictions are. So I like, if you see a headline, long-haired hippie in jail for stealing underwear and socks from the Dollarama.
That'll be you.
That will be me. That will be me. That will totally be me.
I won't judge you though.
You can judge me. I'm good with that. Just I've already wrote a little story on my Facebook about, did jail time. What are you in here for? Guy out there, right? And then it ends a conversation of who's big spoon and who's little spoon, because really there's not much else to do in jail. So
is that why it's like that?
Yeah. Well, I take myself very seriously, as you can tell in this time. But no, it, like, for me it's this time was good. I got to grow. I also draw stuff now, which is kind of fun.
Draw people.
I have drawn people.
I know.
I have drawn people.
You're very good artist. Very good.
Yeah. So, any new skills yourself?
Oh, goodness. Well, learning how to edit. That's funny you said that. Yeah, I am. I've learned how to, badly. I'm not that good. Badly. But, yeah, I'm in the process of learning and editing and creating my own projects. indie style and at home, and interviews that I'm putting together to make a show or whatnot. But kind of COVID online show, because that's what I want to do stuff like Oprah does, where it's like serious, sitting with them, really well shot, all that. But I'm just doing what I can right now, trying to give people more exposure, trying to think of new visions to keep the business going, myself going. I just interviewed some amazing talent from the PR, the promotion people. Her name is Leslie out of Vancouver, and I just can't believe that I get to interview the stars that I do. I really love what I do because I'm a super TV fan behind the scenes anyway. So when I had seen Emanuela Vargas, Vargier, I say her name completely wrong. When she came on, I was like, I've seen you on Charmed, CSI New York, like everything she's ever been on. One Tree Hill. I was just a huge fan of her. So I feel like things are looking up, but I've had to really push and think differently, how I can create for others and for myself since this pandemic. I commend anyone who is continuing their business to keep going. I know, guys, it's so hard to just keep going. But I say, and that's why I'm creating this series called The Dreamers, of interviews of the people I do, because that's what everybody wants. They have dreams, and it's so hard to achieve them. So I'm hoping that could inspire somebody during this time.
So I'm gonna ask a big question then, because we've danced, you've done a lot of different things, but if you had to narrow this all down, what do you want?
I want family.
You want family?
I want to be able to go to a Christmas dinner with a bunch of my family. I want to get married. I want to have a baby. This kind of stuff. I want to build that in the next few years and start my own. We just got to get married to do that, but we'll figure something out. I'm sure somebody out there will one day. But yeah, that's what I want. I want to.
That's what you want?
I want to do what I want to do with my art. Always keep doing what I'm doing a bit better and build a family. Yeah.
You want to build? Okay. Okay. We'll come back to the family part in a second. What do you want to do with your art specifically?
I want to be
in front of the camera. Do you want to be behind the camera? What do you want to do?
I think because of how I do things and what I do, being behind the camera for my TV show, hosting it always. But, I like when other people host too. I like producing. I produce lots for people behind the scenes and do PR behind the scenes for other people's show. So I want to give a try at that. I've got a gal and a client named Quinn Teachma that is putting together her own show that I'm helping edit, and we want to put that out for people too. So I'm helping others and consulting, I guess you'd say, with guiding I'm here with my past experience of what I've done for people who want to start a project. So I'm kind of mentoring people just naturally. My friends call me up, and then we end up putting it to a business because it's a lot of work to put a show together. So that's what I'm doing, producing other indie stuff. You got to start somewhere. I'm not anything at all in any sense. I'm just an artist, but I'm having fun building that, because down the road you never know what I could achieve.
You're right. First off, hey Dory, welcome to the show. Nice to see you again. That's so we got people watching us on both Facebook and Twitch right now. So Dory is somebody. Dory, this is Jill. Dory. Nice to introduce.
Una.
Yeah.
Hi.
All right. So but with what I do, what I've learned in the last year is how to say no. It's a beautiful thing.
We used to talk about that, where I'd do anybody who came to me, okay, I'm going to do your interview, and it wouldn't even be the right fit or something. I'd get myself in a big drama with that. Yeah. And I say what I need more now. I say, well, guys, for me to achieve this for you, it's this, that, a lot of the time.
So, like, I did audiobooks last year, and
Yeah.
it was a good experience. I learned a lot, but I realized afterwards that I didn't really love doing it. So I like it. I mean, but I don't do them cheap either. They are expensive to do for a reason. So, like, the other day, I just had someone out of nowhere goes, "Hey, I want you to do voice work for me." It's like, sure, there are my rates. You go, do you do like part? Nope.
I know people always want to collaborate because media is always free, right? So it's like,
No, not for me.
a lot. That's what they say. I've had so many people say to me, "Well, media is a free industry," and I'm like, "Why? Like, how come editing a project they can make a lot of money, but somebody doing the interview they don't get a thing?" So interesting.
I get paid for my stuff. I mean, but that takes an honest assessment of your worth. Like,
Yeah.
honest to God, it takes a high level of assessment with your art.
You got to prove that. You got to prove that to them every time too. They say, "I want to see your media kit. I want to."
No, actually, I don't.
You're
I don't.
charging money for it.
No, I don't. I don't even. I don't even bother. At that point, I just walk. I look at it like this. Okay, this is how I look at it. I know what I can do. I don't care what you think I can do. I know what I can do. If you want me to work with you, then it's going to cost what it's going to cost. Now, I may not be the right fit for you. That's fine. That's totally. I totally get that. There are 4 reasons why when you work with a client, you keep them, you let them go. The one that's most excusable is when they're not ready. But I look at it like this: when my time's not respected, you just walk. So I had 2 pieces of advice right when I started to freelancing from a guy that's actually really successful at freelancing. Mm-hmm. One of the most important piece of advice he gave me was, for what you ever choose to do, you stop doing it for free. And honest to God, it's the truth. Like, I like doing this show. I love doing this show. I make money off the show in a bunch indirectly. Directly, it's free. But indirectly, I may have made my money off the show a whole bunch of them. Well, I've had sponsorships. I've had people advertise on the show. I've had people do all kinds of things for the show. And my material, like I said, I've got a steady freelance gig because of my history doing this show.
Mm-hmm. So you have to work hard to get that.
Oh, sure, I did.
Yeah.
Sure, I did. But I also don't. I don't let people. At this point in my life, I don't let people go to me, "Well, I'm going to need to see." It's like, okay, I tell you what. If you need that, here you go. Shake your hand. Walk out the door. I don't need you. You want to work with me? You'll let me know in no uncertain terms you want to work with me. If you don't want to work with me, right? That's fine. Do me a favor. Just say no. I'm good with no. Like no is actually not a bad thing to hear or to
then
say.
You know, yeah.
Exactly. So I learned very early, like, you stop looking at what you do as a free product, because you're not free. People, here's the mentality about free that a lot of people don't really think about, but probably should. The reason why things are charged so much, like why I charge so much for doing audiobooks, why I charge so much to do voice work, is because I recognize that my voice is worth something. And I love doing what I'm doing. So my price tag is so I can continue to love what I do. Because the last thing I want to do when I work for somebody is resent it. Yeah. Right? So my price is so I don't resent you. Right? That's what it really comes down to. So if I get to that point where I feel like I'm going to resent doing the job, I'm just going to walk away. At this point in my life, I know what I want to do for the rest of my life. So why would I hate what I want to do? Fuck that. I'm going to do what I want, how I want for people. I'm going to serve people the way I want to serve people. And the people that I really want to work with are going to recognize my worth and pay me for it accordingly. Now, again, I got to work my way up to maybe the rate I want to, but I'm getting paid for it. I don't do writing. I do no writing for free. I'm at that point now that I don't do a damn thing for free unless I want to.
Yeah.
But even then, I want to. I don't do it for any other reason, right?
Sure.
If you want me to write something for you, it's going to cost. Sometimes depending on what it is, like my expertise, it's going to be closer to 50 cents to $1 a word. Because fuck it, I'm worth it. So you have to learn in this business, whether it doesn't matter what media or art or any of that stuff. You've got to make the decision for yourself to stop working for free. And if that means you walk away from certain people, so be it. They're not, right? So, awesome. I mean, yeah, that's where I'm at. Now, in your case, like I said, what do you want to do? Like, what do you feel you're worth? Because honest to God, you probably are worth more. And I'm like no bullshit. Just you probably are, but you got to fight for that worth. The one thing about this life that I've learned, whatever you truly want in this life, you have to fight for it, and that's okay, right?
Each time you want.
I can be a nice guy, but I can also be a ruthless son of a bitch. I have that in me. I do. I've learned how to do that. When I lived in the States and I went through my real hard time in life, it's the one thing it taught me. It taught me how to be ruthless in the best way. I don't want to necessarily be ruthless, but I will be if I feel. I had a client last year. I was going to do an advertising campaign for a book. It was an anthology. I'm not going to name the names because I don't really need to, but there was some information I wanted to maximize the campaign and never got it. So I walked. Why am I here if you're not going to give me the information I need to do a job? I'm not going to present it. I'm not going to. You have to have confidence to walk away. If there's maybe one thing about you that maybe I could see with you at this point, you still have it in you to want to please everybody, I think.
Yeah, it does.
A little too much. You got it.
When someone comes to you and says, well, "Do you do my thing?" and then I tell them no, then I lose them forever. And
no, you don't.
Right about me. Oh, I get the worst. People who are against me in life, they're the ones that maybe something happened or something, but usually it's, she never wrote about me and I'm doing good things and she helps this person. What the heck? And that to me is the worst. I think you guys are the worst to say it like that. Did you ever come up to me and come to me in a professional way saying you want to work with me? No, you just want it to be that you did something and I should do free because it looks like I do that all the time. So that's my worst thing, where if I don't say yes, then I'll get haters from it.
So what?
And then if I say it costs money, then they go around, Jill asked me for money. And it's like, you guys, I'm a business. What? I know. That's what it seems like, being a woman in the industry. It seems like I'm just asking for a handout or asking for money. And I'm like, no, guys, it's a business. Like, you need to pay me for how much exposure I give you as a publicist. Like, but it's hard. Yeah, it's not easy.
Well, I don't want it. I almost feel like I'm going to be giving you some advice here. So I think we need to have our little come to Jesus meeting.
I know. I just need to be very abrupt and say, no, guys.
But that's not
my sheet for how much it costs. And when I do that, sometimes people come back and sometimes they say, okay, bye.
Well, that's fine. Well, that's fine. But look, can I ask you something straight up?
Mm-hmm.
If someone isn't going to give you what you're worth, do you really want to work with them?
I know. I feel kind of like, well, they're just using me anyway to get one thing from me. Yeah, and I look at that.
Why? Why are you? So why even? Honestly, I mean,
because the people who come to me, they know me for a long time.
So what?
They know I help the underdog, so they
So
want to
what?
they want to ask, can you just do this for me? And then I say sure, and then maybe trade a favor or something in life for it. But really, unless you actually get paid your time when you're the one doing the work for somebody, it's just another. It's like if you had two buckets and you filled all the buckets of all the time that you put in for other things that didn't amount for you to move forward. In that sense, it's like my bucket would be very full and the other one wouldn't be. But I take it like I'm happy to help people.
There's nothing wrong.
Like
Okay. So
I like it. I don't.
can I, as a friend, can I say something to you?
Yeah,
You sell yourself too short.
I do, and I think it's the adoption thing that's
No,
a big thing.
It's more than that. Like,
totally.
it's more than that.
The value, I know. I think, guys, I'm very valuable.
Well,
I think everyone is, but for what I do, it's hard to charge. But nowadays, with editing that I'm doing for people, with making projects for them, yes, yeah, Josh, I am charging.
I disagree with that conclusion. I don't look. I do. I really do. Look, I love having you here. Like doing an interview, asking people to do an interview on your show is great. People love doing it, and we can have an hour conversation, which is what we've done. But here's the thing. If I'm going to advertise my stuff with you, like I would want to know where I'm reaching. Like there would be information like that. Where am I reaching? Where can you hit that I can't get on my own?
Yeah, what network do you at?
Yeah. Basically, what I want to know is where can you get me that I can't get on my own?
Which is everywhere, but yeah.
Yeah. But again, that's business, right? That's the business end of it. Like that's details.
Yeah.
Once I know the details, let's say I want to work with you. Let's say your network, like I decide that maybe your network is something that can be very invaluable to me to promote whatever projects I'm doing, right? Then I expect to pay for it because I think it would be worthwhile to pay for it. I'd want to see it follow through. Now once I pay, I'm going to have certain expectations for you.
I think that's my worst because I don't know what the expectation feeling inside is. Sometimes people don't share that with me, and sometimes it gets lost in translation. Maybe what they want, if they're new, they never knew, and they're like, well, I wanted it like that. Yeah, that's been a thing in life for experiences. Yeah.
So from your end, okay, so when I talk about advertising, so this is how I think about advertising. I think it's like a call girl that fakes it. because I look at it like this. What I'm paying you to do if you're an advertiser is I'm not saying you're feigning enthusiasm exactly, but I can talk about my book, and no one, no matter how good the advertiser is, can be as passionate about my stuff as I am because I made it. If I'm paying an advertiser to do it, they have to be at least passionate enough to talk to people about your work. That is not easy to do. That's why advertising is so freaking expensive.
I know it takes time, money, putting your brand behind somebody else's brand. Yeah. It's a risk every time you say yes.
Absolutely. So I'm coming back. So all of this to say, okay, for you, it sounds to me on one end you should have a clear model of what the goal is with your creative people. Maybe you need to work on that personally. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's not what I'm going to talk to you about here. That might be something you gotta, put a little break. What can I do? Who can I reach? And what can the goal be, right? And go from there, right? Those are just things I would ask as an advertiser. But you personally.
Ooh.
So and this is what I'm going to say to you as a friend. You got to stop selling yourself short. You can't help everybody. You can't.
No, literally I can't. Yeah.
No, you can't. But that does. But see, like you will try. something I very picked up very early in this interview, and this is something I'm making this clear with you, because I just as a friend,
Mm-hmm.
you have a little bitterness you're carrying with you, a
Oh
little bit.
yeah, of course.
So
Yeah, yeah. Life's been
so
hard on me.
here's the thing. This is your dream, right? This is like you acting, producing, me like this is what you've always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you need as a friend, I say this to you. You need to stop. I don't care how famous they are. I don't care if they're your friends. If they're your friends, they'll understand. That's how I look at it. You gotta stop looking at your stuff for free. Here's the thing, you may not work with as many people, but the people you do work with will respect you.
Yeah, not just use it. Yeah.
Yeah, they will respect you because they're paying for it. See, the reason why, again, this is freelance rates. This is something I learned about. This is something learned really early on when I started freelancing. The reason rates are set the way they are, you do not want to be the cheapest person on the lot. You don't. You want to be with everybody else. The reason being is because no one respects. This is how it works in the film industry.
Yeah, yeah. It's for
Well,
yeah.
here's how it works in the film industry. The movie that most likely to get made from the big studios is the one they pay the most money for.
Mm-hmm.
Not the least, the most. The one they pay the least, they don't have to make. There's less pressure to put that out there. The more money spent on a movie, the more likely that movie gets made. The reason being is because now there's an expectation with the amount of money being put into this project that it's going to work or it needs to come out, one or the other. You have to put yourself in a position where people have those expectations of you and are willing to invest in you, and that's your challenge. But until then, you set a price rate. You ask yourself this question, right? Honestly, how much will it cost you to do this job and not resent it and look at yourself with respect? Because honest to God, the one person you're protecting with your rates is you. It's not about you want to do fair work for your client, yes. But this is more than just doing work for a client. This is about doing what you love so you never resent it. Because the moment you resent it, you're going to take a step away from it. And it's a step, right? It's a step you might fall apart from. Now, but that's going to take some balls too. You're going to have to look in the mirror and you got to look at all your friends, and I mean every single one of them, and go, I may not work with any of these people ever again. That might not be a bad thing, though. And that's what I'm trying to get across to you. You're worth more than what you think you are. But you got to be very honest with yourself about who you are, what you offer, and what that really is worth. And you got to really think about those things.
Yeah.
If you don't, and you're just gonna let whoever comes into your life dictate where you go.
Yeah.
You're fucked, and not in a good way. Like, you're just fucked. They're going to use you and throw you away.
I know, and this happens to me where I'm on people's trails and paths, and then as soon as they're done with me or don't need me or whatever, then I'm back to my own again and trying to help somebody else. And it's kind of like I'm just focusing on helping the brand of the magazine and myself. And you're right, with people that I say, okay, I'll do free job for you, I should start telling them, I charge this amount. What can you do in lieu of, if you can't pay me, what can we do together that you can offer me? And I should start saying it like that, even if because I never say what I need in the situation. I'll just say, yes, I can offer you this. And then I never say what I need from doing this from you. Like, only when they come to me as a client, as a PR person, but even for just a one-off interview, people will come to me and say, oh, do this interview, they're famous. And if I say to them, Josh, like, oh, well, what do I get from it? I want $50 for putting this out. They say, what are you talking about? This magazine did it for free and did this. With media, there's a gray line with how people think about how to approach you, even.
So here's the thing, right?
If you want it.
Okay, so interviews. You did this interview for free. This is content, right? And vice versa. I'd go on your show. There's no charge for me interviewing on your show or anything like that. Interviews are one thing, because at most, like, we spent an hour, like, well, another 10, 15 minutes, and that'll be it. It's just an hour of your time. But when you like put real investment, like, I'm reaching out to these people to talk about this product or this movie or this show or this person. That's more of an investment. That's a job. It's no longer I'm networking, we're interacting, we're doing something.
Yeah.
It's a job.
Creating some more for them, yeah.
Right? You doing an interview. Now, you don't have to interview everybody. It all depends on what your goals are. Right? Your goal, like, you gotta be very honest with yourself about what you want. Right? And then just
do what other people want, yeah.
That's it. I say all of this as a friend because I watching where things are going for me, I just realized that I've adhered to certain rules, and you need to adhere to your own rules. Look, at the end of the day, there's only one respect in life that truly matters, and that's the respect you have when you look in the mirror, and everything else will come.
Yeah. People will care about what you're up to, and then they won't. So in the end, you're left with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want. I say this as a friend because I've seen this with you a few times, and I'm like, you know what? It's
hurting me. I know. It's like people are hurting me every day with what they say about me behind my back for helping them, for not doing what they want in the way they want it. And I should be more vocal about, okay, guys, this is how I do it. And if you don't like it, then, like, there's nothing I can do in that sense, because what I do is good work. Some people say I don't do good work. Some people will say she's the best. So that part isn't really what I'm concerned about. It's more about being able to be part of the community and, like, a respected product that's, like, separate from me. You know, the magazine is not me, Jill. It's its own entity and its own view for others. You know, it's very separate.
It is.
Yeah.
So but the question then is this, and then we'll leave this, I think, at this point. And this is yeah, right. This is the last question. This, you don't answer this here. It's the question you need to ask yourself, and that's this: do you like what you see in the mirror? The answer is no. The answer is no. I don't need to know the answer to this. This is not, like, this part is all you.
I hear you, yeah.
Right. If the answer is no, then you need to ask yourself a very honest question: what would it take to turn that into a yes? And how would you go about to get that? That is the question I think you need to ask yourself at this point in your career, because you're still young enough.
Could go either way.
Well, no, you're still young enough, you're still pretty enough that if you want to be in front of the screen and be really successful at it, you still can do it. But you've also done a lot of other things behind the scenes that you really enjoy doing.
Yeah, separate from acting, because it's not always full time.
Yeah, right, absolutely. So you've diversified quite a bit already.
Out of necessity, but yeah.
Well, that's everybody. I never intended to do a podcast. I ran on the register to write books. Here I am. I mean, I don't regret this. I really don't. Cool things have happened to me doing this.
Yeah, me too.
But the thing is, right? But everything I'm saying here, it never goes the way you think it's gonna look like. That's fine. Like, that's the path to success never looks like you imagine it will. But here's the deal. Ultimately, sooner or later, it's your path in the arts, I feel, is a reflection of the person taking the journey themselves.
Yeah.
So Jill Maria Mateas Robinson,
Yeah.
who do you want to become, and how are you planning on getting there, and what are you willing to change to do it? You answer those questions, maybe, just maybe, who knows where you end up. But that's me being a friend, telling you.
No, I appreciate it.
Mhm.
That's good. At least somebody's standing up for me, Josh. Thank you very much for your time today. And I can't wait to share it with everyone else who didn't get to see it today.
Oh, it'll go through quite a few rounds. But before we wrap up, what's coming up next? Like, you mentioned a few projects before, but what's actually next for you that you can talk about?
Probably the magazine would be next, and then the Gray Man by Berkeley Brady.
So do you know when they're coming out?
Probably October, November, but I don't know exactly. Everything's changing for COVID. But
Okay.
been in the editing process for a while.
So then what was the last thing you did that was out recently?
I think that was the Moments in Space Time by Patty Sherschwan that's out on Apple and Amazon, and I'm at the end of the movie in 2 shots. But it's the beginning for me, you guys.
Okay, so this is what I would tell you to do. I want you to do your last movie, since you know that's out, your book, because you know that you have some other control when that's coming out, and how people can find you.
Oh, yes, I'm here with Meg on social media, many format, Facebook, Instagram, and then online, I'm here with mag.com.
Okay, so that's it. And your last film was what's the Space Time one called exactly?
It's Moments in Space Time on Facebook, Instagram. Patty Sherschwan, Chris Cowden created it. If you just plug that into your computer device, you'll find it.
All right.
It was a big movie, yeah.
And guys, this has been that, as we say, is that. Before I wrap up, I want to thank Jill for coming on the show. Thanks you very much for having me and dealing with me preaching to the choir. Anyways, but
wouldn't have it any other way.
For everybody else watching, listening, thank you for watching, listening. If you want to support this podcast, you can do so a bunch of different ways. I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/justjoshingpodcast. Click the like and follow button. Tell your friends. My YouTube channel is Joshua Cantilaresco. Click the like and subscribe button there. My podcast airs everywhere. Stay tuned June 15th. I will announce the book that's actually eligible for an award and the next release of then. But until then, tomorrow, the mom of 18 herself, Jen Taylor Camber, will join the show. Stay inspired, everybody. Keep shining in the dark. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Say poop, Emilia.